Hello and welcome to Biz Buzz with Bruno. I'm your host, Michael Bruno, presented by the wonderfully wonderful Mads Theater. And welcome to our second season of Biz Buzz with Bruno. We're very excited to open up our new season with our whole new set by my wonderful husband, Jim. And we are excited to bring you today Malik, I'm sorry. I knew I was going to get it wrong.
That's okay.
Sorry, I apologize. From Madison Ballet, yes. And we're going to talk about their upcoming production of The Nutcracker. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time out today. So for people that may not be familiar with you, because you're only a year and a half into Madison, tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Malik, and I am originally from New York City, New York. Not originally, I actually grew up in New York City, but I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. But I grew up in New York City. Started dance really early, 4 years old, just obsessed with Michael Jackson and wanting to dance background for him someday. That was the dream job, dream goal. And somewhere along the line, I got introduced to ballet, and I think I was around maybe 9 or 10 that I saw a production of Cleveland Ballet do The Nutcracker, and out walked the prince, who looked just like me, and I was like, oh my God, I could do this as a profession. There's a person, because before that I had seen ballet in New York, but I had never seen anybody that looked like me. So I didn't think it was a possibility. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, I can do this as a profession. And I just got hooked, and I fell in love with ballet, and I just didn't stop still doing it. So I trained for many, many years at the Joffrey Ballet and Dance Theater of Harlem School. And then went on to a professional career for about 15 years, dancing with companies like Oakland Ballet and Charlotte Ballet, and ending my career 11 years ago with Ballet Hispanico in New York. And from there, I just continued to choreograph for companies around America, and started with Madison Ballet about a year and a half ago when they offered me the directorship.
And had you heard about Madison Ballet and all your
I did,
times?
because I had a what we call a pickup company in New York. So it was a part-time company, gig-based. But the mission behind it, which was called Ballet Boy Productions, was to provide opportunities for young men of color who were interested in pursuing careers within the classical and contemporary ballet. So we did education, mentoring, outreach, performances. And one of my dancers that danced for me danced here also. And they called me up and they said, hey, this company is looking for a director. I think this might be something you're interested in. Maybe apply. And I did. I applied. And then the pandemic happened. So I didn't hear from them for about a year and a half. And I had forgot all about it. I had moved on. Everybody was in a state of what's coming, what's happening. No one knew. And like I said, they called me a year and a half later and said, hey, do you remember us? And I was like, vaguely, just run into me one more time. And then then it all started to come back to me, because I actually had an interview. I had one interview with the board. And then the pandemic happened. We were in lockdown. So when he called me, I was just like, I completely have forgot about that interview. So we picked up where we left off and continued to process. And I came out here and met the dancers and taught class and met community leaders and went to some of the places and spaces that they occupy here. And it was wonderful. I really loved the dancers. That's what really drew me here. I loved working with the dancers. They were hungry for someone to lead them artistically, and I felt like I could do it.
And how does Madison compare to other companies? Obviously, you've been in New York with amazing companies. Yeah. How does that compare for you in your mind?
It's a difference. It's a difference. Yeah, I come from New York, where the top companies of the world are there. American Ballet Theater, New York City Ballet, and then on the contemporary side, Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Ballet Hispanico, Dance Theater of Harlem as a classical company as well. So I have a level, and I was also trained under all those companies and under those teachers and those people who dance for those companies. So I was trained under a very high level. And I'm also a Black male, short, queer artist. So I had to be exceptionally good. Yep. So my level and my expectations are very high. So the dancers, I saw the potential in them to get them there, and that's what we've been working on to achieve. And they're at a completely different level to me than when I started.
And are the same people there that when you first came in?
Many of them. Yeah, many of them are the same. We do have a lot of new dancers, because I actually found an ability to expand the company, because the company really needed more in-house dancers. Before I arrived, they used a lot of guest artists. And it's really hard for a ballet company to first brand itself and have an identity if all you have is guest artists. So that was majorly important for me to have a permanent company of people that could work together and gel together and harmoniously become a real ballet company. So that's what we've been really working towards. And so we started with, I think they used to have like 13 dancers, and now we have 23.
Wow, that's
So,
great.
yeah.
So obviously there was that horrible downtime, the dark ages of COVID.
Yeah.
And what happened? Do you know what happens to a company like that? Of people?
Yeah.
I mean, everything just shuts down?
Everything
doesn't
shut down, and everyone was in their homes taking ballet class on Zoom and trying to fit. I mean, you know, many people, especially dancers, because they don't get paid a lot of money, so they're in very tiny apartments, and it's usually like 1 or 2 people. And can you imagine these, you know, small spaces trying to? But dancers are resilient, and they will find a way. So many dancers found a way to take class every day, to stay in shape, to stay motivated. But it was hard. It was even hard for me because I had really started to take off in my choreographic career at the height of it. And I had commissions from this company and that company. And every week I was getting an email saying, well, we're sorry, we're not going to be able to do your ballet this year. And so I literally watched my career just kind of like go down the drain. And I was like, what am I going to do? You know, but, you know, I found some light at the end of the tunnel like most of the dancers did. And we've made it through, so.
And now, so do you openly recruit people from all over to come into the company,
Yeah.
or are they just within the Midwest? Or
No, we have a true, I call it the UN of ballet. We have everyone. We have dancers from Brazil, Italy, the Philippines, Texas, Ohio, here in Wisconsin, California, Canada. We have dancers from all over the world in the
I
company.
never knew that. I never knew that happened.
Yeah, my major thing in life in regards to ballet is about making sure that the companies represent the communities that we serve, and that is everyone. You know, so I want to make sure that we have a representation for everyone to see. So like when I got inspired when that man walked out on stage and I saw myself, I want somebody else to be able to watch our Nutcracker or our Timeless program and see their reflection, step out on that stage, and maybe spark their interest in ballet or just becoming a patron, if not a dancer. So.
And so the current production of Nutcracker, this isn't your vision. This is somebody else. And is this the second year that you've been? Yeah,
it's the second year that I've artistically directed this production of the Nutcracker, which was choreographed by Sarah Schumann Stewart. Excuse me. And they've done it for I think a year before I came. So this is my second year artistically directing it.
And is she local to Madison?
She is from Chicago.
Well,
and she's been affiliated with the company for a long time. She served as the interim director between Earl Smith and myself. But she's from Chicago, and she had a long career with the Lyric Opera in Chicago. So yeah.
And you also have classes for the young aspiring kids.
We have an entire school of Madison Ballet, which serves very little ones from mommy and me classes all the way up to our trainee program, which is right before you can enter into a company.
That's so encouraging.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about this year's Nutcracker. What's the exciting?
What's the exciting part?
People to buy tickets for this
traditional. Well, no, I will say, like, I changed a few things. So as you know, this Nutcracker is not just with the company. It also has our school division children in it, but it also has about 50 members of the community. So it's a huge production. There's over 100 dancers in this production. And if you ever come to our studio, we're in a small little studio on Dana Road, and it's amazing. I just left rehearsal where we're all crammed into this little studio making magic happen. So it's quite spectacular in that sense. But I did change a few things. I updated the Spanish section of the second act divert. And then everything else, what I've been doing since I got here last year is just really refining the storytelling, refining the technique, and bringing a little more excitement to it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it is show business that we're in, and we have to entertain the audiences and keep our traditional, you know, classism alive. So I've just been really focusing on that. So I think even more than last year, this year is even more exciting because we were able to delve in deeper and really pull out music more and pull out characters more and pull out just more excitement where it needed to be. Yeah.
And it's such an iconic piece.
It is.
It's done all over the world.
All over the world.
Every single holiday
It
season.
is. In America, it's still relatively new, but it's been around for ages, you know. But I really think it was like George Balanchine's Nutcracker that really set America up with this traditional part of their lives, that they come and see the Nutcracker every year. And there's so many different productions that really speak to the diversity of dance in that sense.
And it's always fascinating to not only watch the kids on stage, but to watch the kids in the audience. You almost expect them to jump out of their seats and jump up on stage with the enthusiasm. And it's hard to keep the attention span of those little
for
kids
2
like
hours.
that. Yeah, they're used to television and computer
now.
games where it's like, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah.
So it's like that's got to be a real challenge for you to keep their interest, because it runs. How long does it run?
It's about 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah,
with
with
intermission.
a 15-minute intermission.
Yeah. So that's a huge task.
It's a long,
to do that.
and it's a long request for children to do that these days. But the beauty of it is, I sit in the back of the theater during the run, and I sat there and I watched children, because I thought, I was like, oh, these kids are going to get bored within 10 minutes and they're going to make noise. No, they're like enthralled and just invested in the story the whole time. And I think the orchestra truly helps, that beautiful live music of Tchaikovsky coming through by the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra is it just really just transports you out of a time, because I know so many of us are in front of our computers and, like you say, games, and everything is so quick and fast. I think it's wonderful that it's a nice time to just slow down, breathe, and appreciate live theater, so.
It's also visually stunning. I mean, in that Overture Hall #1, it's a beautiful setting. And every year, just the spectacle of everything.
Yeah.
There's so much to watch, there's so much to see that it holds your attention.
Yeah, and you see something new every year, because, like you said, there's so much to see.
Right. I think that's one of the wonderful things about the Nutcracker, is that you can go 3 different times and you see
something
3 different, because you're focusing on maybe one dancer and thinking, oh wow, that person was great, and meanwhile you have no idea that there's something else going on, and then you go back the second time, like, okay, now I'm going to watch something else.
Right, exactly.
But it's hard. I'm the same way. I always sit way in the back, because as being a director, I want to see the whole picture. And sometimes I want to think, no, I should really go and sit someplace else in the theater and watch and sit up really close, because the expressions and just watching some of the beautiful movements of people, you just get a one-on-one with that one particular, 2 or 3 particular dancers. And I think that's what's enthralling to adults and kids, especially with that show, because it's such a spectacle.
Yeah, I agree.
And so this production, it's all your company. There's no guest artists. There's no people.
Guest artists.
All people that are in the company. And it's how many people are in the show?
A total of over 100, and then from the company, all 23 are in the performance for both acts. Yeah.
And now, do you have covers that cover for certain things that maybe don't do all the shows?
It's a puzzle. So we have 2 community casts, which have colors. They're 2 different colors for community casts, but the company cast is a rotation of 4. So we have 4 different casts that go in and out of different places during the 2-week run. So it's a puzzle piece for my rehearsal director, Richard Walters. But he's very good at puzzles, and he enjoys them. So luckily, I got blessed with that.
And the costumes are another thing that are always the costumes. Do they belong to the ballet, or do you rent
Nope.
some of the pieces
They're made, they're created. The set, the costumes, everything is Madison Ballet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of work.
It is a huge amount of work, and we don't have a huge staff in our costume department, and nor do we have a huge budget to do the upkeep, but we're doing our best to keep it as new and as beautiful as possible. But it is difficult, very difficult.
Undoubtedly. So what other shows besides the Nutcracker are in your purveyance of the company?
I mean, after that, we have a small, 2-week break for the company, which I'm sure they'll be like, thank goodness, because they've been going nonstop since September. Normally, there's a little bit of a break here and there, but this year we've been going nonstop because our first show started so late in the season. It started in late October into the first week of December, which is usually when we're starting Nutcracker rehearsals. So then we went into the Nutcracker, and then we have our break, and then we come back with a program called Love, which will feature an amazing Latinx choreographer, Stephanie Martinez from Chicago, who is a brilliant creator, and I'm really excited for everyone to see that program. And it's just a program about love and it's different, many facets of friendship love, romantic love, family love, friendship love. It's everything to do with love. And there's also a special program that we're doing for the LGBTQIA plus community, because I thought it was important for me to show my respect to my community and make sure that we're represented. And that program will have some special ballets presented that I've created that have different kind of partnerships and different kind of stories. But that's a 2-week run that's going to be really exciting. And then in the spring, in April, we have our Timeless program, which I'm really excited about because we're doing Act 2 of Giselle, which was that ballet that got me into ballet, actually. I saw American Ballet Theater do it when I was a little kid, and I just sat there in tears, and I just loved it. But like I said, I didn't see anyone on that stage that looked like me. So I never thought about it as a career, but I loved it. I love the storytelling. I love the magic of it. I love the second act with its drama of, she dies and then she has to choose between letting her horrible lover die or save his soul. There's so much drama, and I lived for drama. So it was great. I just loved it. So I'm so excited to be able to present that for the first time to the Madison community, as well as a new work by me. So it's going to be a busy January through April for myself, because I have a lot of ballets in the second half of the season.
And are they all at the Overture Center?
They're all at Overture, Promenade Hall, and then at the Capitol Theater for the Timeless program.
And so now, is the ballet still a resident company
Yes.
of the Overture?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that eases a little bit of the burden off of you, doesn't it?
Not so much.
Well, that's why people got to buy tickets, make
Exactly.
donations. Got to send those dollar bills.
Yeah, especially for that Timeless program. This is really a testament to the community to show up for us, because in order for us to be a sustainable company, we have to be able to produce the Nutcracker and one other big show like Timeless, in order to really remain a viable, sustainable company in Madison.
Have you ever done, or do you have any aspersions to working with other companies in town?
Oh,
as
absolutely.
a co-production,
Absolutely.
maybe?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that, to my knowledge, I know there are a lot of different dance companies. There's a lot of different companies that have been in Madison for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of new, young companies that even we've had on the show here, and that I wasn't even aware of. So dance is becoming much more accessible and much more visible in Madison.
It is.
Whereas, when I was growing up here, it's like, the ballet was the only company that was doing that.
Yeah.
And you had the local, the local teachers, like Virginia Davis School of Ballet.
Yeah.
You'd have those that had been around since I was a wee little thing, many moons ago. But I've never seen any kind of, I've never seen them all come together to do something collaborative.
Yeah, that would be great.
I just think would be fascinating. So I know
love
that
to.
We're all fighting to put the butts in the seats. We're all fighting just to sell that ticket. That's the one thing about I've done many shows at the Bartell Theater. So there's a whole group of people that may be working with different theater companies, but they're all under the same auspices of let's all do some theater together.
Yeah.
So there's a wonderful sense of that's like you say, building the community.
Yeah. I'm all about collaboration and working with our community in any way possible. My dream is I really want to create a Sunday in the Park with George ballet, incorporating like theater and singers and live music, and like it's all in my head, but it's just I love that musical so much, and I always was like, this would be an interesting, beautiful ballet. But it doesn't just have to be dance storytelling. I think there's a way to incorporate a little bit of the theater and a little bit of the musical into it. I just think it would be amazing for us as a community to come together to do that. So that's like one of my dream things I've written down to hopefully achieve in my time here.
So in all of your credits, has it always been, ever since you saw the ballet, have you ever crossed the bridge into musical theater or crossed the bridge into maybe
For me,
operetta?
myself?
For you yourself?
Oh yeah, I've worked with my best friend Camille A. Brown, who is a two-time Tony nominated choreographer. She received a Tony nomination for her most recent production of For Color Girls on Broadway, as well as Once on This Island a few years ago. And I was actually her assistant for the Public Theater's production of For Color Girls. And that was my first foray with her into theater. But I've worked with her as a dancer as well. So that was kind of our connection. And that was my foray into professional theater. But I went to a performing arts high school where we did everything. We danced, and most of my training was in ballet outside of school. But in school, we did everything. We did musicals, we did plays, where we did everything. We built the sets, we did the promotion, we learned everything. We had to sing, we had to dance, we had to take photographs. Literally, we did everything. So I've always grown up loving musicals. I've been obsessed with them since I was little. The first one I ever saw was The King and I, and I just thought it was beautiful, and I love the choreography in it, and I love the drama in it. Again, I'm a drama queen. I love it. I just can't get enough of it. And then as I got older, it really became Sondheim, like with his brilliant mind and all of. I don't think there's a musical that he's created that I don't love and I'm obsessed with. And then my ultimate obsession, which will never come to fruition, was to work with Elaine Stritch.
Oh, wouldn't that have been
who
something?
I feel like is my kindred mother or my best friend. I always say if I could have a dinner party, you know how they ask you that question? I wouldn't even need four. I just need myself and her and a bottle of whatever we're sipping on. And I just think it would be the most amazing dinner party, you know. I've been to a lovely party. But yeah, she's one of my absolute top guests that I would ever have loved to work with. So I love musical theater, so I'm obsessed with it.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced? You're obviously, you know, one of the greatest ones is coming from New York and coming, you know, to the Madison Midwest part of it. But have you had certain challenges that you found you didn't expect to have?
For me, myself?
For yourself?
In this role? In the role?
Yes.
The biggest challenge, which was shocking to me, is trying to figure out a way to say this nicely.
Oh, you don't have to be nice.
No, I know, but I don't want to offend anyone.
It's just you and me, honey. Dish with me.
I would have thought that, because I lived in Cleveland. And the orchestra there is Cleveland Orchestra, of course, world renowned, world famous, very well supported. The Cleveland Ballet that I danced for, it was okay supported. But I thought in that time, this was in the early 90s, in that time, like especially in the Midwest with so much ballet popping up, that there would be a bigger appreciation and a bigger funding of the arts. So that's been the biggest, because in New York, it's funding. You know, we're not number one on government funding, but we're pretty high up there. But not only that, the residents, the community, there's just a ton of grants, and people just give money to the arts because they just find the value and the importance in it. So I thought that had trickled into the Midwest and everywhere else, that I'm seeing so much pop up of ballet and the performing arts. But to my shock, it really hasn't translated here yet. So that's been the biggest challenge, is finding the funding and getting people to understand that it's not, I don't view the performing arts as a luxury. I view it as a necessity. And I know many people do the opposite. They view it as a luxury, but it's really not. Like I said, when you can spend that time in a theater of any sort, musical, theater, dance, and just allow yourself to be taken in by the beauty and everything that's happening on stage, I think it touches your soul and it makes you a better person. And the flip side of that, it provides opportunities for people to have a life. I am a walking example. I come from very little. My parents had very little. I'm one of 7, and grew up very poor. And if I had not had amazing ballet teachers and a school that gave me a scholarship, I don't know where I would be today. So I always say ballet like saved my life, because it really did. I'm a little black boy from, Ohio, artistically directing a ballet company. I'm one of 5 artistic directors in America that are black, out of 400 and something companies, so we're still a minority, but ballet and the performing arts are just important to me. And that's, if I could say anything else, I just want people to understand that it's not a luxury, it's an absolute necessity.
And I've had this discussion, I don't know how many times, sitting here with people in the arts and knowing that, Wisconsin is dead last in funding for the arts.
They moved up one.
Oh, they did move up?
They're 49 now.
We're 49.
Georgia is 50.
Well, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de- and I had a discussion with Sarah Day from APT, Dana Pelabon, who, and every time we talk, it's the same thing. And it's like, how do we change that? I mean, we do what we do. We're all, deep down, we're all artists. We're all, we're supportive
passionate about it.
The problem with it is that it's show business. And I think the business part of it is what hangs over our head like the sword of Damocles. And we're always thinking that you can't, there's only so much time in a day to write a grant, to get government, to get funding, to get somebody to give you that money.
Yeah.
And that to me is that's exhausting.
It's exhausting and it's time consuming. And the crazy thing with grants is you spend hours upon hours writing the grant to then get the grant. And when you really add up the amount of hours you spent to write the grant and then the follow-up that you have to do once you get the grant, your grant has been used for that, not for the actual work that you applied for.
Exactly.
It's a vicious cycle that really needs some readjusting.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that's always been the question is like, how do you can't, it's so enormous. It's like, how do we go about fixing that? How do we go about changing that? But like you say, it takes so much out of our artistic day that you need so many more people, I think, who just are business minded and legal minded and grant writing minded and just that part of it in all aspects of whether it's theater or community theater or dance or music or whatever the arts is to find those people that have that passion but can do that part of it, to let the artistic people do the artistic part of it. And I think that's many boards that I've served on, that's kind of like the boards sort of their duty to do, but you get burned out. Because you say it's a lot of work and it's a lot of hours, and by the time you get all that, it's even more. And now you realize, you're getting 5 cents on the dollar back out of that $1 that you're getting as a grant money. So I'm wishing and hoping that that there somehow there'd be a solution for it. I'm not sure how to go about getting it.
I don't either.
I think the more we talk about it and the more people hear us talking about it, that there may be people that that agree with us.
I think a lot more people, and I think you're dead on correct with that, speaking about it and letting people know about it, because it's easy to sit in the theater and see, like you said, the spectacle of the Nutcracker and think, oh, they're doing great, this beautiful production. It's like, no, when you really get up close and you see the refurbishments we need to put into those sets and costumes, but we can't because we don't have the money, you'll be like, oh, okay. It's the magic of theater. That's beautiful, that we love, but it takes money to get there. And as you said, the craziest thing is everything else has gone up. The theater rental, the union crews, the production crews, costume people, production, everything, lighting designers, everybody's price has gone up. And we are not increasing our intake, our revenue, but our expenses are out of control right now. It's a hard time, especially with people not coming fully back to theater the way they were before COVID. So I'm hoping that shifts and starts to change. The arts have always gone through tumultuous times, and we've made our way out because of the resilience of all of us as artists. But I think this is another moment for us to really rally together and try to figure out how to fix this permanently, Yeah,
because honey, toe shoes are expensive.
Oh, very. They just went up $30. So now we just got an email yesterday by Freed or Block and the shoes are now $150. So they were $120. Now they're $150 per pair.
And you got what?
I have 13 ladies in the company who some of them go through 4 shoes a week.
Oh my gosh.
So that's $600 a week for 28 weeks. You do the math.
Wow.
For one person.
Wow. I will never forget. I got to interview and go backstage for Trocadero Ballet, and they would go through, those girls and the amount, it was literally tubs and tubs of just toe shoes, and they would use them once and be like, frick, we can't use those again. It's just like, oh my Lord, it's just crazy. They're
working on new shoes. I think Block is now working on a new shoe that's similar to the Gainer Mendez that came out, so they can last longer, but they still don't last forever, Right. And if they do make a shoe that lasts a little bit longer, of course, they're going to charge you more for that.
Well, of course.
Because if you're getting $150 per pair 3 times a week and you made a shoe that's going to last you for 3 weeks, they're like, oh, we're going to fix you, But, it helps a little bit, but still, we need more involvement and more improvement in that area as well.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we haven't covered about Madison Ballet or about your particular aspersions with being in Madison?
Oh no,
and
the
company.
So. I think I'm just trying to get the word out that we're here. We're, we've had a slow uptick in our patrons and our audience since I started. But we still need more. I mean, we're in the, what do you call it? The canoe, the raft. We're in the raft, and it's rocking. The water is filling in, and I am working my behind off to try to, really save the company. But we desperately need the audiences to come out. Yeah.
I know what I was going to ask you. Do you ever get the opportunity more to dance?
No. Thank God.
Do you miss that?
I don't. When I retired because I had really done it. I had a performance with Ballet Hispanico, and I did this amazing jump into a split Itali beady piece, and I ruptured my ACL in both legs. And I finished the ballet, luckily, but when I finished and I went over to the wing, and my knee was like, it blew up to the size of a golf ball or a tennis ball. And I will never forget my director talking to the physical therapist, and his head was like, and she was like, and I knew it. I was like, they're torn, they're gone. So after that, I had an amazing physical therapist who did get me back in tip-top shape. But it was my first and only injury. And at that point, I had fulfilled everything that I had written out. Because I had a list. I wanted to dance Ailey ballets, Ulysses Dove, George Balanchine, Jerome Robbins, so forth and so on. I made a list. And when I looked back and I had checked off almost all of it, I was like, I'm good. I can walk away. And plus, my interest was always, honestly, more into choreography. Ever since I was little, I loved putting dances together and kind of seeing how nothing turns into something. So when that happened, I decided to fully just commit myself as a choreographer and no longer be on stage. And I was quite happy.
How old were you when that happened?
Oh, I was almost 40.
That's amazing that you got through that long and not be injured.
Yeah,
like
never had an injury.
That's an incredible testament to your talent and your physicality.
I don't think I've ever missed not one performance up until that moment.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was quite happy. I had danced, further than I ever thought. I've been in so many companies, traveled and danced all over the world. All of my dreams came through as a performer. So I don't leave anything. I didn't leave in regret or like, oh, this is so sad. It wasn't any of that. It was like, thank you. I did. I came. I saw. I got all the T-shirts. Rode all the rides. I'm good. But venturing into that other side was a whole different. I almost didn't make it. I took a break. I took a 4-year break here after my 3rd year of retirement because I was becoming very angry and resentful towards the art form, and I loved it too much to do that. So I said, let me just walk away while I still love it and have respect for it before I start to hate it. And I took a break, and I was glad I took that break because what it did, it allowed me to see another part of life. And I became an executive director for a fashion retail company completely outside of the performing arts sector. I ran a global fitness company for 2 years and just did a lot of things that were more, I guess, on the administrative side. So it gives me that mindset when I came back into this profession that I now understand fully the business side and the artistic side because it's super important. I've danced for directors who only knew the artistic side, and I saw where the pitfalls and the problems became too much for them. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the only thing you didn't get a chance to do was to dance with Michael Jackson.
I did.
That's the only thing on your bucket list, right?
That was.
In the next life.
The crazy thing is when they started this MJ musical, I almost thought about auditioning.
Did you?
I almost thought about auditioning, but when I saw, because they at the time, I think they had auditioned through, you submitted a video or something like that. So they put like the dance breakdown online and then you learned it. I saw that choreography. I said, oh, God, no. These dancers today are, my hat goes off. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing.
They do things that no way. I would probably be in the hospital right now if I even attempted to do half of the things that I even asked them to do. So when I saw the choreography, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That's not for me. No, thank you. No, thank you. So, but I went to go see the show.
I was going to say, did you go and see it?
I saw it. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And it blew my mind because I did not expect to see what I saw. I was like, and I've seen a lot of theater, but the evolution that they've made in production, hands down, one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a true tribute to Michael Jackson and his innovative, just out the box thinking way. So. I think he would be happy with it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, the Nutcracker at the Overture Center. Tickets on sale. Opens on the 12th of December?
The 15th.
The 15th of December.
It runs through December 24th.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Do your family a favor. Do your friends a favor. Go and see the Nutcracker, because it is an iconic, visually stunning, wonderful performance.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for taking time out of your
you.
incredibly busy schedule.
I appreciate
for
it.
coming today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to seeing everything that you do in your fabulous career here in Madison.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Ben. And here's to our second year.
Yay.
Take care. See you next time.
Congrats.